Hello and welcome to another episode of Splat. I'm your host, Chris Slagle, and tonight we have a couple special guests on. From one of the best fields around, we have one half of the owners of Sherwood Forest in LaPorte, Indiana, Joe Stayback. And we
How you
also
doing?
have and we also have on the show tonight one of the best female ballers out there. She is also one of the modern day pirates, Mary Burkhard. Welcome to the show, guys. So,
Thank you for having us.
not a problem, not a problem. So I'll start with Joe. Joe, when did you start getting into paintball?
Long time ago in a galaxy far away. No, basically, I've been in it from the very beginning. I started playing back in the fall of '82. If you know,
Wow.
paintball started '80, '81, right around there. I can't remember exact date. I was a freshman in high school, growing up in Indiana, out in the woods, country boy. We had bottle rocket wars, BB gun wars. And one day, my brother, who was working for Kids Carnival Rides, little outfit, was brought home a pamphlet flyer for this new sport called paintball. And we're like, oh my God, look at this. We got to go try it. So we got a bunch of friends together, and we didn't have enough of our friends, so it was half our friends and half the parents that went out. And ever since then, I've been hooked. So I've been playing now for, 35 years. So I've
Wow.
seen everything in the industry from the start. I could sit here for weeks telling you stories, behind the scenes, everything. So I've seen it all, done it all.
What'd you guys shoot back then?
When we started, it was the bolt action Nel Spot 007s. And after playing for 2 hours, you had basically a hole in your thumb from the ball on the bolt action of sliding it up, pulling it back, sliding it forward, and sliding it down to load each paintball in. And back then it was $2 for 10 shots.
Wow.
Yeah. And when we started, it was still oil-based paint. It wasn't the water soluble yet.
Oh, so that's like staining clothes and everything else,
Oh yeah.
and oh my
Yep.
gosh. So you've been playing for 35 years. When did you decide that, hey, you know what? I want to build something where everybody can come out and play?
Well, we played backyards back then. After the first year or two, we started buying our own guns. Splat Masters came out. That was high tech to us when the old Splat Man, not the new Splat Masters, the old green Splat Masters, the NSGs came out. And we were playing in, cause here in northern Indiana, everybody's got woods or whatever. So we started playing out there and building stuff. And then in '88, started playing just a mile down the road from where Sherwood is now. A friend of mine was a caretaker or whatever, custodian of a rental home. He had about 10 acres of woods behind there. And a bunch of us met up and started playing out there every weekend. We started building stuff out there. And then after about a year there, we were looking at purchasing that property. The deal fell through. And I'd always seen this property here where Sherwood is, driving up and down 35. I could see the sign out there and thinking, okay, there's 86 acres back there, and didn't have the backing at the time. Partnered up with one of the guys, and he ended up screwing up the deal. So I went to my dad, and I'm like, hey, do you want to buy some property with me? And at the time, we bought it for two reasons. One was mainly for the paintball field, and two was for hunting. Because out here where our family grew up, most of the hunting areas that they'd hunted for years have been getting subdivided, sold off, whatever. So we were losing our hunting areas. So my dad agreed, and in March of 1990, we purchased the land out here and never looked back. Just started building from there. So it'll be 27 years next month that Sherwood's
Wow.
been open.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So how many people do you normally get out there on like? I know I talked to Billy Jack a couple weeks ago, or it was probably last week, and he said you guys had an open play out there, And then I know you guys do the scenario games. What kind of draw do you guys bring in between your open play and your scenario games?
It depends on the year. It depends on the weather. We're only 7 miles from Lake Michigan. We're right in the snow belt. So this time of year, this year we've been very fortunate. As nice as it's been, we've only been closed down one weekend this winter so far. And we've been steady all winter. And the winter time, just depending on the weather, we average usually about 20 to 50 players, and that's not including reserve groups. Because we have, when we do our rec games out here, weekend games, we have 12 different playing fields out here, so we can run 12 groups at once, open play plus groups. Then in our busy season, the spring and the fall, we average anywhere from 50 to 100 players in open play or more, plus running 5, 6 to 8 groups throughout the day. Our busiest day last fall, I think we had like 160 players out here, and that was between open play and reserve groups.
Wow. So you guys draw quite a bit then.
Yeah, and then our scenario games, when we do the scenario games, we've had upwards between 600 and 700 players in the scenario games out here.
Wow.
And the way the field is set up and the terrain, this field could easily handle over 1,000 players. It plays a lot bigger than it actually is.
That's crazy. And you said you had 12 different fields out there?
For our rec games, yeah. Our largest field, which is, on the weekends, we rope off all the interior fields for our weekend games, our open play and rec games. The interior rope lines get taken down for the scenario games, and you're playing on approximately 60 acres of land when you're playing the scenario game. The rec fields, you're playing on a total of probably about 40 acres. There's 20 acres that you don't even get to see on rec weekends that you do get to play on for the scenario games. Our largest field out here for the rec games is obviously the Castle Field, the city of Nottingham, and that's about 5 acres in size. The other fields range anywhere from 2 acres down to about a quarter acre in size.
Wow.
And we have pavilions around, bed boxes around there netted off for the rec games, so that when the groups go out, they can play 2 games on a field. When they get out, they go into the bed box, which is a pavilion with netting around it, picnic tables in, so they can take off their goggles in there, clean the hits off and everything. And then when the next game starts, they go back out and start playing again.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So I know we've been talking about it. You're talking about castles, and I know we were talking earlier about pirate ships and stuff. So what makes your field stand out, not only in Indiana but on a larger scale? What makes Sherwood so special to the paintball community?
I think Mary. I don't want to sound pompous on it. That's why I'll let Mary answer that one. She's played here now for 3 years. So, Mary, if you want to take that question.
Well, the best part about Sherwood is I haven't been there yet for the non-events. The events, they actually set up vendors. They have generators running, everything else. They have their air buried off-site, so you don't hear a compressor constantly running. The pre-chrono was phenomenal. You go in, you make sure your marker's working before you even go into chrono. Everything was set up based on a paintballer. This is the way it should be. If you're going to go and play paintball, this is the way it's supposed to be. And then it wasn't just a castle, your plywood walls and some metal stairs. No, I mean, it's a true castle. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Everything about it. The feel of the people when you get there, the field. When you walk the field and the field is lit with torches, you go part to part to part. You feel like, this is amazing. This is phenomenal. This is what paintball should be. This is something where you kind of escape. You always want an escape when you go to paintball, and you're always looking for that. But this field just made it that way. It was, you went there, and there was no way you were going to have a bad time. unless you truly looked for a bad time, you were not going to have a bad time. And that field just opened it up to me. I'd wanted to go there for years. And, I'd seen pictures of it in 2010, and it took 4 years for me to actually convince people to finally go, and that was because there wasn't a 2-day event. And I couldn't imagine all the locals. I'm like, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. This is your local field. You're so lucky. like, come on, seriously? Like, this is in your backyard. You get to play this all the time. And, everybody knows each game, holds its own. But to go to that field every time, and then, like I said, you have Kathy's big, beautiful smile inviting you in. She'll do her absolute best to get you through registration quickly. She'll remind you 3 times, get your waivers done. You walk up, it's already done. Here's your packet, go. Have a great time. And that's the thing, is they just want you to have this really amazing experience. And I think, to me, that's what really sets it apart from a lot of the fields. A lot of the fields are more, like they'll say about structure, or they'll say about, we need pre-reg and packets and all these things. This field you go to, you feel like you're part of the family. And you feel like you just need to go back more and more and more. Like I said, the locals have it, I'm jealous. They're locals. You get to play there all the time.
I appreciate that, Mary. That's one of the things we do strive out here is it's a family atmosphere. It's not, like I said, I've been playing for 35 years. One of the reasons I did build this field is I've traveled, when I was on the tournament circuit during the 90s, I've traveled all over North America, some South America, and I never found a field that I really wanted to play on. There's a lot of cool fields out there. I'm not knocking any field. But when I walked on a field, some of the top fields, Sacon Village, EMR, all them, it's like, in my head, I'm like, well, this could, you need something here. Or, if you built something over here a little different, this field would have played great. And I'm not knocking on them, but so when I built Sherwood, I built a field that I wanted to play on. And one of my idols is Walt Disney. And I take it to heart, one of his greatest sayings was, Disney World would never be done. There will always be improvements. And that's the same thing out here at Sherwood. Every week I'm out here, sun up to sundown, 7 days a week, working on the field, adding new stuff. So every weekend, when the players come out here, there is something new on that field. When the scenarios, we have 2 scenarios a year, so there's a lot of new stuff. When the scenario players come in, that are only coming in twice a year, there's whole sections of field, whole new cities, or multiple buildings. Like last week, we did maintenance on the castle field. We repaired all the fencing around the castle, built 3 new buildings down there. This week we've been doing all the spring cleanup since the weather's been so nice up here. We've been doing all the spring cleanup, burning all the leaves that we didn't get burned last fall, cleaning up the woods, the paths, all the sticks, the dead trees. So it's always constantly growing out here. It'll never be done. I got so many ideas and plans that I want to build out here that, like I say, it'll never be done. And one of the nice things that we do out here, back in the 90s when we started, I built the field just like every other paintball field, with scrap lumber, plywood, stuff like that. And after 3 or 4 years, I was spending half a year repairing the structures, which a lot of field owners can attest to. They get wore out. So in 2000, when I started rebuilding everything, I got off the tournament circuit, retired from that, and focused on scenarios and rec play on the field. I rebuilt the whole field. Everything out here is, the structures are built out of railroad ties. So that way I don't have to repair anything. The structures are there longer than I'm going to be here. And I continually build everything out of railroad ties. And for another reason, Eddie, it looks like Kathy, or like Mary's touched on. When you walk in that castle, people have come up and go, "Oh my God, it feels like a real castle," because with the railroad ties, and especially at night when it's lit up with the torches. Players go in there and go, "If I didn't know this was built out of railroad ties, I'd swear it was a real castle." So,
and I've had countless people from different teams thank me. Thank you for showing us this, for bringing us here. And it is. It's as soon as they walk into that castle, they're like, oh my gosh, they just get filled with a sense of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be here. I'm going to play paintball here. And then as they continue throughout the field, it gets better for them. Their smile gets bigger if it's possible. They love it. They enjoy it so much. And then, like I said, the other thing I guess that does truly set it apart is Joe's always there with a cigar hanging out the side of his mouth, just smiling, just enjoying everybody's happiness. He knows he puts a lot of work into it. He knows he puts a lot of effort into it. And he's standing there with a cigar hanging outside, and he's just smiling, looking at everybody's faces. And it is something that's extremely impressive.
So, Mary, how many times have you played out there?
Unfortunately, I've only played 4 times.
We lost
What's that?
Hello?
Are we good? I'm here.
Joe? I think we lost Joe.
Chris, you there?
I'm still here. Hello, Joe? Hello?
Joe, you're still there?
Can you guys hear me? I can't hear you. Hello?
I can hear Joe.
I can hear Joe.
Do we have him back?
I don't know. Joe, are you there? Or did we lose you? Yep. I think he's calling back in. Hang on just a second. Joe?
You're going to edit this out, right?
What happened?
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I'm going to try to edit that out because that was a few minutes of weird silence. Where am I at? Okay. So, what I was asking, Mary, you said you've played out there 4 times, you said?
Yes. Unfortunately, it's only been 4. But they've been probably, some of the most experienced of it. Just the best experience. Just always fantastic.
So,
every time. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Well, I was going to say the first one was, it was Sherwood Classic Z, where we, again, the collective of the people, we're not going out there. We're not driving 7 hours to play a one-day game. We're not driving out for 7 hours to do open play. And so they had Sherwood Classic Z, and we went, like I said, again, my brother was my biggest compliments ever. As we walked the field, as we started, past the castle and a little bit further on, he turned around and looked at me, he's like, thank you. Thank you for bugging me for 4 years to come here. I'm like, you're welcome. And it was my first time there. So, of course, I was, completely overwhelmed. I'd seen pictures of it, but then to stand in it, I loved it. And the gameplay was fantastic. Everything, that was like first day, I'm like, I want to own that castle. I want to own that castle. And I kept saying, I want to own that castle, and we did. We just went in, and there was nothing stopping us at that point. I'm like, I want to own that castle. I don't care if you're local. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you flew from California. I own that castle because I want to own that castle. And we sort of took over, and we loved it. And then it was the next opportunity was a year later. We had we had experience with the field and things like that, but they were looking for generals for the game. And, I had expressed that I had wanted Mission Masters, Dean Allen, who is the head of Mission Masters, to be general. And, of course, I approached Joe and Kathy, and Joe and Kathy are very open. When you approach them, they'll listen to you. Now, if it depends on, what you have to say, but they'll listen. You present that opportunity to them. And I explained to them, he's been playing paintball and writing games for many, many years. So he's going to be dedicated as a general. And they're like, okay, bring him on board. And when we brought him on board, that was the next game we went to. And the Indiana, it was just phenomenal. We turned it into this nice big opportunity for everybody and to everybody to come and experience it. And then again, I had other teams coming to me again. Thank you so much Thank you so much for telling us about this. And I get that every time. Each and every time I say there's another event at Sherwood, you need to come to this. Band of Brothers, Jeff Churches, thank you. Thank you. This was awesome. I remember I'm walking around the store talking to him on the phone, and after the game he's like, thank you so much. And I'm like, yeah. And he's closer to that. He's more local than I am, but he had never experienced it. And that's the thing is you get out and you make, every game you make it what it is. But with this field, the possibilities are endless. And talking about the pirate ship, I get more and more excited. I know Joe's going to accomplish it. I know he's going to do it. I know he's going to build it because it's in his head and it's got to be there, and you've got to see it. And it's those things that make this field definitely it's unique. If anything, I would definitely explain as unique.
So what would be, let's say, your favorite things about Sherwood or your favorite memories then about Sherwood?
My favorite favorite memories are I had a really nice walk on with one of my teammates, and his name's Big D. But we were walking on, and I see 4 of our players coming off. And I say to him, "Hey D, these players come off." Yeah, I know. Okay, so we're walking. 2 more players come off. Hey D, more players come off. Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay. So we continue to walk. We're walking towards the battle, and we get to it's the far left side of the field, and it's down in the ravine. Beautiful, gorgeous, amazing area. I love it. And as we're walking down, just more and more players are piling off. And I'm like, okay, well, we finally get to the point where we can see there's a reason. They had a huge push on the other side. Like 30 people are like grouped together and just charging. And I look down and probably about 1,000 yards down in, there's a guy right against a tree. That's the only player I can see on our side. I'm like, D, he goes, yeah, I know. So he's like, all right. I'm like, all right, let's dig in. Let's dig in. I get down behind a hill. He gets behind a tree. That guy gets shot. Okay, we pull up. We start shooting. I start shooting. No, there's no we here. I start shooting. And I'm like, okay, I'm shooting. I'm left, right, center. I'm dodging. I can't do center. Okay, so left, right, can't do center. D, I need some help. D, I have an issue. Whoever's 12 o'clock on me, I need you to get him. My marker's not shooting. Like, what'd you just say to me? It's not shooting. I'm like, what? I'm like livid. I'm like, no, you can't say that to me. The 2 of us walked down here. No. And so I continue, and I'm shooting. I'm getting low in paint. Well, he pulls out his pot of paint, and he chucks it at me. He literally throws it at me. It bursts open on my leg and like pops out all over the place. I'm like, thanks, D. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, thanks for that one. Do you want to try again? Like maybe just kind of. So another one chucks at me. Like lid still pops open. I'm like, okay, I need some help here, buddy. I'm like, run over here or something. No, he's finally pitches me a pot. I get a pot back in. I'm holding back. I'm holding off. I'm holding back. The whole time I'm laughing. There's 30 people. There's 2 of us, and I'm the only one shooting. They never advanced. I was like, because we technically had the top of the hill. To them, like, no, we can't charge up there. It's the top of the hill. And when I finally ran out of air, I could have picked up paintballs off the ground because there were so many of them to put them into my hopper, but I actually ran out of air, and to where they did shoot me, hand in the air, and we come walking off, and this ref comes to me because that was badass. He goes, I've never seen you hold off 30 people. It was insane. You hold off like 30 people by yourself, and this other guy's like throwing paint at you. I'm like, yeah, that was definitely one of my most favorite memories. It was just spot on to where he was so confident walking on, and the whole reason his marker was not shooting was because he didn't have air. He forgot to fill out, which to me is a classic. So, but that was definitely my favorite memory. And like I said, I think my absolute favorites are Legion of Assassins, Martin, Tim Hodge, my brother, everybody just thanking me for bringing them there. That was priceless to me. That's definitely my best memories. Their smiles and their faces, and just seeing that. And every time I go, and I just get these huge, big smiles and hugs from Joe and Kathy, which makes it awesome.
So Joe, what's one of your favorite memories then from Sherwood? Like just being an owner of it all. Like what are your you know memorable things that you see out there?
Pretty much like Mary said, watching the players' faces and hearing them tell stories and talking about having so much fun on something that I built. That's my biggest thrill out here. So yeah, that'd be it.
So
Again, it goes back to Disney. It's that whole thing of watching the families have fun, the teams have fun, the players, first-time players, experienced players. It's watching them come off the field and hearing them laughing with the other team that they just took out or they took each other out and laughing about it and telling the stories. That's that's my that's my payoff for it all.
so I know we've been talking about castles and attractions. Do you have anything new and exciting coming out? I know you had mentioned the pirate ship, or you were working on maybe a couple pirate ships out there. Is that right?
That's the big thing that I've been trying to work on for the last probably 6 years when I came up with the idea. Just to the east of where the castle is, there's a low spot. We call it a pond. It's basically just runoff. But I wanted to dig it out, line it, and when I get it done, it is going to be like a theme park attraction. If I can picture it in my head, it's going to have special effects on it. There's going to be 2 pirate ships. There's going to be a center island with bridges coming across to it with a 2-story octagon tower on it. And then there'll be 2 bridges going from that island to each of the pirate ships. The pirate ship on the south end is going to be the biggest one. That's going to be 20 foot by 80 foot. It's going to have a lower hold. You're going to have your main deck, and then you're going to have your fore and aft castle. So there's going to be 3 stories on that ship. And I'm going to make it a replica of Black Pearl from the Pirates of the Caribbean. And then the ship on the north end is going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be 15 foot by 45 foot. Again, it's going to have the fore and aft castle and everything. So it's going to be 3 stories as well. That's going to be a replica of the Infernal, One-Eyed Willie ship from the Goonies. Then on the north end of the pond, there's a huge dirt mound right now. Everybody calls it the mountain. And I have to laugh because every time I come up with an idea, it's like, I'm like, all right, where am I going to get the materials for this? Where am I going to get the supplies? And Kathy gets upset about it because I'm like, well, I need this. How am I going to do it? And within a month, something happens, and I get what I need. And she gets frustrated with it because all you got to do is just put it out there, and it happens. We have an excavating company in town. Well, there's 3 of them that have been hauling stuff out here, and off and on I get to borrow their equipment. Well, I had the idea of building this huge mountain on the north end of the pond, and what I'm going to do is, if you've ever played CPX, you know their temple, Incan temple or whatever it is, has these huge culvert pipes going through it. They're like 10-foot pipes, drainage pipes. Well, I'm going to do that only on a little bit bigger scale than CPX. So there's going to be 3 of those tunnels coming through this mountain. The pile of dirt right now is 30 foot high, and like I said, I'm thinking, where am I going to get all this filled dirt to make the islands that the ships are going to sit on and everything? And this excavating company calls me, and they're like, hey, we know that this other company dumps out there. Would you be interested in some fill dirt? And I'm like, sure. Is it clay? And they're like, yeah. I go, how much? They go, it could be 500 yards, it could be 5,000 or 500,000 yards. We don't know. They're redoing a road in town. I'm like, yeah, start hauling it out. So they started hauling it out, and we built up this huge mountain. So now I got the mountain of dirt. Now I just got to get the culvert pipes to put the tunnels through. And what those tunnels are going to go into on the north end of the pond is I'm going to build a 24-foot by 24-foot room. It's going to be 2 stories tall. But what it is I'm going to sculpt out of shotcrete, just like a theme park, a giant skull. And the whole area, that field is going to be called Skull Harbor. And like I said, that whole mountain of dirt, I want to encase it in concrete, sculpt stonework so it looks like a cliff face with a giant skull on it. And what you'll be able to do is come through those 3 tunnels into that room inside the skull. There'll be ramps going up to the second story of it, where you'll be able to shoot out of the eyes of the skull down into the castles, down into the pond. Then you'll be able to walk across a rope bridge out of the mouth of the skull, walk across a rope bridge to the North Pirate ship, which would be One-Eyed Willie's ship. Get onto that. Then you'll be able to go across the bridge to the Octagon Tower or Island. Then go across the bridge to the Black Pearl on the south end. So yeah, it's a big undertaking, and if it comes off the way I want to, like I say, it's going to be just like a theme park. Because what I want to do also, special effects on it, is there's going to be, I'm going to put air compressors in each of the pirate ships, run tubing out underwater, and the air compressors are going to be on timed manifolds where it'll blow off air so it looks like cannonballs going off, hitting the water around the pirate ship. I got fog machines I'm going to put out there, dry ice machines, so there'll be a fog on the pond whenever we want it. Lighting, music, everything. It's a big undertaking, but that's going to be the next big project out here.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Do you guys do any? You were talking about that you had lights and stuff out there. You don't run any night games, do you?
Yes, we do.
Really?
One of the few fields that do. The whole city of Nottingham is actually wired on that, and it's a cool story because I had an idea of what I wanted to do with it. And the castle has outlets in it. A lot of the major structures around the city, which there's 90 buildings around the castle. Some of them 2-story, most of them 1-story. But the city is set up on 2 power grids, the south and the north grid. And during scenario games, the first scenario game, I had envisioned how it would work out, and it worked out exactly like I thought. And it was with 2 major scenario teams. One was Thunderstruck scenario team, and the other was In Contempt, which is a local, Midwest local team, powerhouse scenario team. They both had missions to go into the city at night and plug something in to complete their mission. Well, both teams had the bright idea. Well, the lights were on in there because there's street lights all the way around the city on top of all the torches. They're like, well, we blow up the power. If you blow up one of the, we got 2 buildings, one on the south side, one on the north side. They're called the power stations. If you blow up one of those buildings, the ref goes into the FX building behind the castle and hits the breaker, and that grid goes down. All the power, the lights go out. Both teams came in same time. They're like, well, if we blow up the power station, lights go out, we can sneak in there easier. So they both did that, got into where they had to plug in their, whatever it was, the laptop or whatever, to download something. And they're like, hey, it's not working. There's no power. And they're like, oh, we blew up the power station. Both of them had to get engineers in there at night to rebuild the power station to get the power back on to complete their mission.
Wow, that is really cool. That's incredible. It sounds like, it sounds like almost like the Field of Dreams, to be honest with you.
It is.
It just sounds amazing.
It is, and that's I'm not downing anyone else by saying this, but it is. It's the Field of Dreams. It's the best place to play paintball. It really is. That's why I'm jealous of locals. You guys play there every weekend. I'm jealous.
How far
Come on, guys.
is that for you, Mary?
It's about 8 hours.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's so worth it. Oh, that's the best drive of my life. It's the best drive of my life because I'm going to Sherwood.
So I know you and James are going this year, right? In March?
Yes, absolutely. We're going in March. May is a maybe, and then definitely again in September. I'd love to make every single one. I'd love to make every single weekend. It's just, it's an experience. And again, I haven't been there yet to where it has been, I want to call it the quiet time. Because, you have a lot, with 50 players, open play would be fantastic. It's quiet. You're really, truly hunting people at that point. And that would be fantastic. I haven't experienced that yet, but I will. I definitely will.
So, real quick, Joe, what advice, and I've got a small field I'm trying to work on, and I like that ambition of this could be better, this could be better. What kind of advice would you have for the local field owners in a smaller setting?
I've helped so many fields start up, and most of them are out of business now because they didn't listen. Make sure your customers are having fun. That's the key to running a successful business. If your players aren't having fun, they're not going to come back. They're not going to tell their friends, hey, we had a great time, or tell them stories or whatever. So the key, paintball field owners are in a customer-based business. That is the key. Second to building your field, don't rule out any help from anything. Like I said, I'm dealing with 3 different excavating companies out here. They're always either doing demolitions or whatever, and they're contacting me, hey, you need some lights. We're tearing down this old warehouse. They got lights in there. Wiring, bricks, whatever. And they're willing to give them to you for free. I've gotten a lot of, they tore down a couple old barns that were over 150 years old that I've used for the awning over our stage out here. And it's hand-hewn timbers that are 150 years old, and it just adds to the feel of the, the whole feel of the field. And one of the things, too, that I didn't really touch on, Mary touched on, but Sherwood, when I started it back in 1990, paintball wasn't as well known as it is now. Everybody still viewed paintball as a bunch of militia guys running around in camos shooting each other in the woods. So the reason I came up with Sherwood Forest was to get as far away from the military theme as possible. Nowadays, you don't have to worry about that stigmatism of, everybody knows what paintball is. But the reason I went with Sherwood Forest was growing up, and still is Robin Hood. I love anything medieval. I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I've got thousands of dollars worth of books that right now in my office right here, D&D books. So I went with something that was as far away from the military theme as possible. And the way I describe this field is when you walk on it for a scenario game, it's like you're walking through a medieval countryside. You go down into the city. You go through the castle, round through the city, walk down a path, come around another hill, and there's a tower. You go down another path, and there's a small village. You go across a ravine, there's a bridge with gargoyles on it up to another castle. It feels like you're walking through a medieval countryside. And one of my best compliments I've gotten was from Tommy Hill, who used to put on scenario games back in early 2000s out on the East Coast. And he described Sherwood as a scenario field that they play rec games on the weekend. He goes, it's a true scenario field. So, like I said, don't turn anything away. Reach out to local companies, excavating companies. They're your best bet to get supplies for building your field.
Awesome. I know that, like I said, is there, Mary or Joe, anything else you guys want to touch on?
Well, there was one other thing I wanted to touch on. You had asked about my best experience, and that was a personal best experience for me. A personal best experience for the entire field was when I had, Dean Allen had said, I want to do a fundraiser there for Painting the World One Kid at a Time, and I want to do a gear collection. And I said, okay, great, I'm on board with it, and let's do this. Let's make this happen. So, he had promoted it. He had said different things about it. Well, when it came time, at the end of 2 days of amazing play at this great field with amazing people, and you're truly surrounded by people that have been they've had a blast all weekend. They really don't have a complaint. And they just were so overwhelmed and happy that the first person to win one of the giveaways, I wanted to explain 1 week at a time. And then people just started following suit. We want to see more kids out here. We want to see more kids in the sport. We want to see this grow. We want to see this get bigger. I was overwhelmed. Every single person that won brand new gear, whether it was a marker, a mask, pod pack. It didn't matter. They just had such a phenomenal weekend that they just they were just so happy inside. They're like, no, I don't need this to take. No, here, and just that feeling overwhelmed me because again, they just had a blast. They were like, I don't need something to take home to make this weekend okay. They had a blast. They had an amazing time there, and that's what Sherwood does. It provides that. Everything about it. And like I said, the first time you walk the field, get there, go there. You're going to be there in March, right, Chris?
Yeah, I'm planning to go in March.
Okay.
I know this is the first time I think we've actually had our local guys, as many as we've had, sign up to go. So I'm really excited. And I know that we've got, I don't know, there's at least 5 or 6 of us from the really southeastern Indiana area that are going to make that trek up there.
And that's excellent. Walk the field Friday night. Walk the field. Walk the field Friday night. Get there, walk the field, and all you'll see is smiles. And Joe's going to be sitting back with a cigar in the side of his mouth, just enjoying it. He does it for this. He does it for that aspect. And then, of course, he's in the gameplay. But I don't know if you knew this, but the next day, Saturday, you're not going to see Joe standing there smoking a cigar. You're going to see him standing there. No, he's in the mix. He's in there playing. He's enjoying it just as much as you, Chris, and I will be. He is in the mix playing the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, not only that, but you talked about the March game coming up. I will be, Mary, you said you want to own the castle.
Yeah.
Sunday for the March game, the castle. Well, the March game is a one-day game. On Saturday, a big game that Billy Jack is putting on, the Vikings versus Spartans. And we wanted to have the players not just make the trek for one day of play, and that was it. So we're bringing back something that we haven't done in, I think, about 7 or 8 years. On Sunday, you're going to be able to attack and defend the castle. We call it a castle siege. And me and my guys will be in the castle holding it. And you guys will get to try to take the castle from us.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, the March game,
You know I'm kidding. It'll be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like I said, that's going to be a blast, and there's no extra fee. If you pay to play on Saturday for the Vikings versus Spartans, you get free entry into the Sunday game, the Castle Siege.
So, and again, that's a difference between a lot of different fields. This is something where you've already came here, you already played. Let's play some more. Let's have an even better time.
Oh yeah.
And that's awesome, Joe. Really, that's awesome.
And I know.
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Our May game, the first weekend in May, the Stargate game. That is going to be, there's the whole living legends thing. The May game is actually going to be scenario legends. We're bringing back one of the generals is Spiro Black Cat. I don't know if you guys haven't been playing long enough, so you probably don't remember. Black Cat Games used to be one of the best scenario promoters from 2000 up to, I think he retired in 2010, 2011, stopped running games because of health issues. He's coming out of retirement to be the general, Jack O'Neill, and running the SD1 team. And Bobby Darkman Goglin, who used to be one of the best ultimate refs ever in scenario games, is going to be going against him. Like I say, those are true scenario legends, and they're bringing out a ton of old players. So if you ever want to learn how to play scenario games the way it was meant to be, the way it started from true scenario legends, you want to make it the May game. Plus, it's going to be an Iron Man game. TB, I don't know if you guys know who TB is, one of the best scenario players also. He is going to be putting on the game. And he wrote the whole game. It's out of his head. It's based off the movie, TV shows, and everything, but it's an original storyline that he wrote, and it is going to be an old school, true 24-hour game. we are going to go all 24 hours.
Wow.
So if you want to learn, or if you've heard stories of old, the old stories of the great scenario games from the beginning, come out for this one, because this is the way it used to be, and this is the way it's going to be again out here.
That's amazing.
And then also in September, we got Dean Allen coming back with Mission Masters, and he is going to be putting on a Lord of the Rings game out here.
Oh, that's the Mordor one, right?
Yep, that's September 16th and 17th. So you got 3 chances to play out here scenario games this year.
So, real quick, I'll have you do I know you were talking about your games and stuff, and the scenarios that are coming up. I think, what is it? It's pre-register right now till March the 16th. It's $30 to register. Is that right, Joe?
For which game?
For the March game, the March 25th game coming up.
Yeah, so the 16th, yes.
And then right now you've got Paint. That's marked down as well till the 16th as well.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Awesome. So, is there anything else either you guys want to bring up or promote or talk about?
I'm looking forward to being there in a month.
Yeah, looking forward to having you back out here. Looking forward to meeting you, Chris, and seeing your face when you walk the field.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I know it's going to be great. And like I said, it'll be one of those first time experiences of I'm used to playing local, so it'll be a big kind of shock and awe for me when I get out there. Just seeing the pictures that Mary has sent and the pictures I've seen on the Sherwood page, it just looks like it's, like I said, the ultimate dream paintball field. And it looks
one of the things a lot of players said is when they walk out here, and Mary to attest to this, is everybody says the pictures don't do it justice.
No, they don't.
I think we've had 6 different professional photographers come out here to take pictures and video it. And every one of them come up and they're like, Joe, we're sorry. And I'm like, for what? And they're like, these pictures don't do it justice. You got to come out here and see it in person. It's just something you got to do.
It doesn't. And again, when you're talking about the sport of paintball, of course, you picture yourself in that bunker, or you picture yourself coming around that castle, or you picture yourself going into the octagon, and there's smoke flying and people shooting. You picture that, and it's something you have to experience. Everybody should experience Sherwood. There's not a singular paintball player that should not have at least been to Sherwood once. Otherwise, you shouldn't be a paintball player, because it's the best place to play.
That's one thing too out here. When I built, like I said before, I built a field I wanted to play on. It's not like your typical paintball field. I've had Pat O'Toole from GI Sport, who used to play for me back in the tournament days on Thunderstruck. And he played out here in the castle for the first time. He's like, usually when you're playing at another field, you get into a bunker and you're like, oh, if I could only make it over there. And he goes, I looked over and he goes, I can make it. There's a bunker there that should be there. He goes, you built a field that is totally playable from either way, any position. And Kathy has walked out there before when I'm down on the field working. She goes, you're just standing there looking around. She goes, you're not even doing anything. I said, yeah, I am. I'm playing a game in my head. When I build a building, when I build a structure, put in a new bunker, I'll look at every angle of that bunker. And then I'll go, okay, I need to put something there. I need to build something over here. So that way you don't get trapped in one bunker. You can always move forward or retreat. Everything, even the castle, if you know how to attack it, you can take it easily. If you know how to defend it, you can defend it, against overwhelming odds. It is playable from both ways. Everything on this field is built that way.
It's amazing to know that, there's that paintball field that's out there that's, built by the player, built for the player.
For the player.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of fields that really draw in the crowds, and it, in my opinion, helps bring and grow the sport in so many different levels. I mean, it just we've got. I mean, you got your different types of paintball, but scenario is probably by far one of my favorites, just because you know you've got that where you're doing missions, and you're taking the castle, you're taking the pirate ship, or you're doing this or that, and it's an amazing experience to do that.
Well, not only scenario, one thing I left out on the schedule I forgot all about. When I started in the 90s, when we started out here, sure was pretty much a tournament field. Back in the old days, it was woods ball tournament. We had the very first Chicago NPPL tournament out here. All the top pro teams were out here. We had teams from all around the world play out here. Then in the mid-90s, we had our own NAPSA, which is North American Amateur Paintball Sports Association. In 97, we had the largest tournament in the world here. We had 100, and I think it was 110 five-man teams, 50 10-man teams, and I think 60 or 70 three-man teams in one weekend for the national championships. In July, I don't know if you've been following it. I know you guys are all, in the scenario on that, but the NPPL got bought out by Mark Knopf and Chris Cole, which are two old-time tournament players. They wanted to bring back what old school tournament was, woods ball tournament. July 7th, 8th, and 9th, we are having the old school NPPL tournament back out here. All the vendors are going to be out here, huge trade show. They're already talking to a lot of the pro teams to get them out here to play the old style tournament format. So if you guys want to hang out, I think Dynasty is already talking about coming out. Impact is talking about coming out to that tournament. So if you guys want to come out and watch what old school tournament was in the woods, come out that weekend as well. Plus, there's going to be a huge trade show out here. All the vendors will be here.
And that's in November, Joe?
That's in July 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yep. And then you'll have is that on the Sherwood page, or is there an event already set up for that?
Yep, there's already the stuff's already on the Sherwood page for that as well, yeah.
Okay.
As well as all the other events.
I'll make sure I get that shared out. I know I've got the rest of them shared out, but I wasn't sure about the one in July. So that's good to know, so I can get that one as well. Mary, did you want to add anything?
No, I'm good. I just get to Sherwood. And you now have multiple opportunities where I had to wait 4 years. I'm just going to say it. I had to wait 4 years till they had a 2-day game. So get out there. You now have 4 fantastic, choices to go there. Whatever meets your schedule. What's that?
I can vouch for Mary when the first time she came out here. And she came up and she goes, I have been dreaming about coming to this field. I'm like, okay, she had a smile from ear to ear. And I'm like, have you walked the field yet? She's like, no. And I'm like, you're already smiling. You haven't walked the field yet. I said, come back to me in an hour after you walk the field. And she come up and gave me the biggest hug, and she never stopped smiling that whole weekend she was here.
And it's a phenomenal experience. So everybody should go at least once, if not twice, maybe 3 times a year. But yeah, definitely go. I mean, go. And like I said, Disneyland, it's only getting better.
That's great.
It only gets better.
Oh, Joe, if you don't mind, I think Mary or you and Kathy sent me the picture of the sketch of the pirate ship. If you don't mind, I want to put that out there on the
go
page,
ahead.
if that's okay.
Go ahead.
It was great talking to both of you guys tonight. Mary, I'll probably see you on Saturday, and Joe, I'll probably see you in March.
All right. Looking forward to seeing you guys then.
Thanks, guys, so much. And for all Splat, that's a wrap.
Thank you. Bye.
See you guys.